These are corrupt people. These are people that shouldn't be allowed to do the things they do. And they're using this as weaponization against a political opponent who's up a lot in the polls and always will be, because I'm competing with a man who can't put two sentences together.
Donald Trump might have had strong words for this civil fraud trial. It had a hefty penalty for him. A fine and a ban on personally running a business in New York for 3 years. The judge gave his sons Donald Jr. and Eric Trump each a 2-year ban. Their fraud was to inflate the value of company assets to receive more favourable terms on loans and insurance. Trump Tower, where he famously descended the stairs to declare his presidential run, was one building involved. Here's Donald Trump with the Japanese Prime Minister in its apartment. He said it was 33,000 square feet. In fact, it was a third of the size.
Donald Trump falsely, knowingly, inflated his net worth by billions of dollars to unjustly enrich himself, his family, and to cheat the system. Donald Trump may have authored the art of the deal, but he perfected the art of the steal.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. So we have to do a follow-up video on the story about the Trump fraud case out in New York City, where the woke judge basically has fined Trump $355 million because of Trump essentially being a businessman, okay? He was doing things that all real estate investors do, and he's been punished because as a real estate investor, as a billionaire, he decided to run for president, and the establishment didn't like his political positions, right? So, I mean, when people talk about whether or not Trump is actually a threat to the establishment, again, if you look at the political persecutions against him and the fact that Trump is being persecuted for things that they would never persecute other people for, aka people with a D in their name for, right? Like Hillary or Joe Biden. It really does show you that, yeah, they definitely think that Trump is a threat, okay? And this obvious political persecution against Trump, financial persecution in this case, but it is political, but, you know, this is on the financial front here. They're trying to get Trump, has apparently scared real estate investors, right? Because real estate investors, according to Kevin O'Leary, are afraid that they might be next, okay? Because they essentially took down Trump for something that all of the real estate industry does, okay? Basically, they're businessmen, okay? And they're trying to maximize their business, okay, and their assets so that they can get the best possible loans to grow their businesses from banks, okay? But apparently, that is a bad thing to do, and this is something that Trump is being fined $355 million for. He's been banned from doing business in New York, and this is scaring the hell out of real estate investors because they're asking themselves, well, am I next, right? Who's next, okay? And Kevin O'Leary has been sounding the alarm on this, okay? He went on Fox Business yesterday, and he sounded the alarm on how New York is becoming a loser state and that he's investing in red states now because of what is happening in, you know, the state. And it really doesn't even have that much to do with Trump as much as it has to do with the principle of what they're doing, okay? They're just, you know, doing it to Trump. And now he's going to CNN, right, to set their anchor, Laura Coates, straight on why New York is becoming a loser state and why this is wrong and why real estate investors are concerned about what is happening. And he has debated with her before on this issue of how what is happening to Trump is scaring investors away from these liberal states like New York. So let's go ahead and get into it because this is this gets pretty fun.
Well, let's bring in the chairman of O'Leary Ventures, Shark Tank Judge Kevin O'Leary. Kevin, so good to see you this evening. I mean, let me just jump right in here. Last time you and I spoke about the possibility of what the fine could be in this case. We now know what it is. It's more than $350 million. That's a huge financial hit. And I'm wondering, where is he going to get this money?
Actually, it's closer to $500 million with a 9% interest, assuming it'll take 18 to 2 years to actually settle this in an appeal, which I think it should be appealed. He'll work hard to raise it. I think he can do it. But I don't think this case is about Trump anymore at all, because you heard the governor of New York come out yesterday and say, look, everybody, don't be scared about doing business in New York, because the only people we prosecute are people like Donald Trump who don't behave well.
Yeah. So again, that's a good point that Kevin O'Leary is bringing up. And this is what I'm trying to tell you guys is that what they're doing to Trump at the criminal level, okay, at the reputation level with the, accusations of Me Too, and at the financial level is basically a warning sign to any billionaire who decides that, hey, you want to get into politics and you want to speak out against the establishment, you want to push an agenda that's against the establishment, this is what's going to happen to you. We're going to break you on the criminal front, okay? We're going to try to paint you as a criminal. We're going to ruin your reputation. We're going to bring Me Too allegations against you and then try to bankrupt you with that. We're also going to try to bankrupt you with financial fraud allegations, okay? We're going to bankrupt your business. Again, that is the message being sent, and that is why people are concerned in regards to, okay, well, if I behave bad, okay, if I get on the bad side of some woke Democrat governor or the Democrat Party, will they do this to me, right? Will they try to bankrupt my business like this? Again, this is definitely something that if you're in this industry, you should be concerned about seeing this happen to people who are in your industry for political purposes. And it's the same thing when it comes to YouTube and being a so-called, political commentator or influencer or whatever. I get concerned when I see people on the left get canceled for, free speech, which doesn't really happen that much when you're on the left. But I'm just saying, regardless, I get concerned regardless of who is canceled in my industry. Okay, if you get canceled, I get concerned because you're wondering, okay, well, who's next? If they can do it to them, then they can do it to me. Okay, so I totally understand exactly where Kevin O'Leary is coming from because I share the same concern about what's happening in my industry and what I do.
Well, that didn't go over very well with the investment community because we're all asking each other, who's next? This was a victimless crime. Nobody lost any money. And a judge out of nowhere put on a $355 million penalty. I mean, who's next? So if you think
Kevin,
about
before I don't want to cut you off, but I hear about the so-called victimless crimes, but
it's not a so-called victimless crime. It is a victimless crime. And the irony and hypocrisy here is the fact that Democrats, when they come out here and say, oh, well, we want to be soft on crime now because of social justice, what they gaslight people with is they say, hey, no. Look, we're going to be soft on victimless crimes, okay? We're going to be hard on crimes with victims. However, the reality is that Democrats have actually been the exact opposite, okay? Like, for example, DA Alvin Bragg, okay, in New York City, the same city that they're going after Trump in, if you're an illegal immigrant and you jump police officers, you will be released the next day, right? You'll be released the next day. But if you are a real estate investor and you happen to run for president of the United States as a Republican and you have political opinions that he doesn't like and you commit a victimless crime of trying to do business, again, I'm not even going to call it a crime because, it's not a crime, but for, Trump to do business is a crime according to Democrats, right? Hey, we're going to be hard on you. We're going to throw the book at you, right? This is what they're showing you. Violent criminals, they're soft on those people. But when you have a businessman who, engaged in business, okay, a victimless crime, okay, we're going to be hard on him, right? We're going to be hard on him. Again, it's amazing because they told us that, no, we're going to do the exact opposite. Crimes where they don't have victims, yeah, we're going to be soft on those. But crimes with victims, we're going to be hard on those, and they're actually doing the exact opposite. That's the crazy part here.
the laws on the books, falsification of business records in second degree, issuing false financial statements, insurance fraud, conspiracy, and all these different aspects of it, those are actual crimes. I take it your point is that these should not have been prosecuted?
Well, my point is there's never been a case like this in 75 years. Everything you just listed off is done by every real estate developer everywhere on earth in every city. This has never, ever been prosecuted. But here's the real point that people in New York should concern themselves with. You can put your money anywhere. I'm a real estate developer. Do you think there's a chance I would ever take a chance on New York again? New York is turning itself into a flyover state. I have to build data centers now. I'm not going to go to New York. New York has power. It's got fiber optics. It's got Niagara Falls. But no, we're not even thinking about it. We're going to places that have the exact same thing, where we have rational governors that have never done this to investors.
AKA red state governors. right? Red state governors that are Republicans is what he's talking about. And again, I wish Kevin O'Leary would be more direct about it, right? Just say it. Say it like it is. We're going to states that are conservative, that have business-friendly policies where we can operate with leadership that is competent, right? That's not going to essentially make it hard for us to survive and for us to create jobs and economic opportunities for people in that area, right? This is where we're going. And this is true. This is true. This is where a lot of business are moving. They're moving to Texas. They're moving to Tennessee. They're moving to, well, they are moving to North Carolina, but Roy Cooper, he's a Democrat, but hopefully we get him all out of there. We get Mark Robinson in there. But I'm just saying, they're moving to Florida. Okay, they're going to West Virginia. They're going to, South Dakota. They're going to red states that have a more friendly business environment and tax structure. Okay, they're leaving these blue states, these blue cities, these hellholes that are soft on crime to the point where their employees aren't protected. You have high taxes. Okay, so you have that high tax burden, high cost of living. It just doesn't make sense. This is why I am bullish. I am extremely bullish on red states. Red states are the future, right? They're the future, okay? They're the future of the country. I'm so serious. I am extremely bullish on red states, okay?
This is about New York and its people. If I were in New York today and I was living there, I would ask myself, maybe we should hire better management. Why is this happening to us? Why are we becoming a flyover state? Why are investors
Kevin,
concerned about putting their money there?
But shouldn't you ask that? Wouldn't those people also be saying, first of all, I do wonder how many people take issue with the idea that every investor is engaged in falsifying business records, that every investor is engaged in what has been accused of Donald Trump and the Trump organization. Because there's probably a lot who are saying to themselves, I've never falsified my business records. I know what a square foot looks like. I know what I can ask for and what I have the money to support. So I wonder to what extent that really is true. But on the second point, wouldn't there be many companies who would not want to do business or loan money to people like yourself or investors if they know that they can get away with fraud and there's no recourse to protect them?
Excuse me, what fraud? This is not about Trump anymore. When you get a developer that builds a building and he says it's worth $400 million and he wants to borrow $200 million from a bank, which happens every day, everywhere on earth, including every American city, every developer is an entrepreneur. They shine the light on their building and they say it's worth 400. The bank does its own due diligence, as was done in this case, because they're very good at it. The banks are very good, and they say, no, it's worth 300. We're only going to loan you 150 million. That haggling has gone on for decades. That's how it works. And then in this case, even the bank that was supposedly defrauded testified and said, we didn't lose anything. We want to do business with this guy again.
Facts. Again, this is not what CNN wants on their airwaves. Okay, so again, the bank that was defrauded is like, we still want to do business with this guy because regardless of whether or not he may have cooked the books a little bit to inflate the value of his assets, which again, that's a relative and subjective thing. Okay, because, what a property is worth is based off what somebody's willing to pay for it. Okay, it's not what the tax man says, which apparently, is how this judge tried to evaluate the value of Mar-a-Lago. I think they tried to say that it was worth like $25 million or something like that, which is ridiculous to think about, right? Ridiculous. Just looking at the values of the homes in that area, in that Mar-a-Lago area, and just the land, I mean, clearly and obviously it's worth more than that. Now, again, I'm not sure if it's worth $1 billion. Okay, but maybe 200, 300, maybe 400, maybe $500 million, I think is reasonable market value. Now, you can say whatever you want as a investor, okay, or, the owner of the property when you're trying to get a loan, okay, but the bank is going to do their due diligence, okay? They're going to look into it themselves, and they're going to verify, okay, is what this person's saying true about this, this, and this? And again, the bank knows, this dude, he's cooked it a little bit, but we know what the truth is, and his finances are fine. We're going to give him the loan. Trump pays back the loan, and the reason why he paid back the loan is because clearly he has the finances to do so, despite trying to, get the most favorable, valuation on his assets, the bank knows that even worst case scenario, okay, the way we value it, we're still going to get paid back. So it doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter. Again, this happens all the time, and it's not just in real estate. It happens basically with any situation where you are trying to pitch your company, right, or your asset for some type of investment purposes. Okay, so if you have a startup and you're growing your startup business, right? I mean, some of the biggest BSers on the planet, and I'm sure Kevin O'Leary knows this as a startup investor on Shark Tank, it's startups, right? New businesses, okay, that are trying to grow really fast and they're trying to get seed capital. There's BS all over the place, okay, in an elevator pitch, right? They tried to shine their company in the best light, okay? Now, based off that sales pitch, the initial sales pitch, the business model, the investor may say yay or nay, right? But if they say yay, best believe that, before they give the entrepreneur $100,000 or investment money or whatever, they're going to look into the finances. They're going to look into the business itself to see, okay, what's legit, what's not legit before they actually make that investment. Again, this is something everybody knows about Shark Tank. Okay, what you see on television is not all the due diligence that they do, right? There's a lot of Shark Tank deals that on television, there was an initial agreement, but that agreement is always contingent on further due diligence. So the sharks are going to actually look into these businesses, do their due diligence, and if they find that, okay, this business is not what this guy said it was, then they pull out and they say, okay, we're not going to do the deal. It happens all the time, okay? Any investor, any financial institution is giving out a loan, okay? When they're evaluating who they're giving a loan to or the investment to, they're going to do their own due diligence, right? So it doesn't matter how the, entrepreneur or the person that's trying to get the loan or investment, it doesn't matter how they present it, because the financial institution that's looking to loan them money or get them an investment, they're going to do their own due diligence regardless, right? And that's what happened here in this Trump case. And the bank not only decided that, hey, we done our own due diligence, we're going to give them the money. They got paid back. They're like, no, we want to do business with this guy again, right? Again, it's amazing. But he's getting fined $355 million, banned from doing business over something that did not have a victim at all, right? Basically harmless. Amazing.
We'd like to, but the judge said, no. Let's penalize this developer for $355 million. And if we're going to do that, let's penalize all the developers all across America. They've all done the same thing. All of them should go to jail, and we should stop building buildings. That's what the message is from New York. Even the governor herself is concerned about what this looks like to investors all around the world. It's not just U.S. domestic. All around the world, people are talking about what happened here. You really think people want to invest money in New York after this? How about we go somewhere else?
I think there are people who would, I don't want to cut you off, but I want to converse with you instead.
You just did.
It's only because I want to have a conversation,
you know what?
Kevin,
I respect
as opposed
you
to just
I
having
respect
you tell
because
me.
you're a lawyer. You're a lawyer. You understand exactly what I'm talking about.
I got to tell you, I'm respectable for a number of reasons, Kevin O'Leary, but being a lawyer is one of those issues.
Wow.
But I'll tell you, when I hear your conversation, and I do want to converse with you about this point, I understand that there are legitimate concerns that were raised during the trial and will continue to be raised about who the quote unquote, who is actually bringing the suit. It wasn't the banks who were saying that we as consumers or unsophisticated feel this way, but Letitia James, the Attorney General, and I know you want to expand beyond Trump, has suggested, well, it's about making the playing field level for those who are not the major and billionaire investors, but for those who are supposed to put business records out there, want to get a loan, the idea of making sure that they have to have the same true statements included as those who have a lot more money. Is there any weight to that for you?
No, hell no. And you know there's no weight to that. You know there's no weight. I mean, you just said it yourself. It wasn't the banks who came forward to file this lawsuit. No, it was a radicalized attorney general looking to gain political clouts and points by going after her political opponent. That's what happened, right? Again, it ain't got nothing to do with small businesses trying to get loans. It ain't got nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with politics, okay? It has everything to do with these people saying, yeah, if you fall out of line politically, this is what we're going to do to you, right? This is where we're going to financially bankrupt you. So do not think about getting in politics as a billionaire or somebody with enough money to get into politics without having to raise money through the establishment. Don't think about it unless you're going to fall in line, right? That's what this is.
Well, I ask you who lost money, and I'll make it even clearer. You and I, we're developing a data center together, and I say to you, we can go to New York, where this just happened. It's your money now. You're now an investor, and you're taking risk. You're an entrepreneur with me, right beside me. We're together on the deal. Or I can show you Oklahoma, North Dakota, West Virginia, where the governors actually ran businesses. Let's go there, where this never happened before. They have power. They have permits. They've got legislation that's supportive of entrepreneurship. Why would we go to New York? Why take the risk? My only point is, did we just diminish the great state of New York and the great people of New York? And shouldn't they ask for better management so they don't become a flyover state? Remember, New York has the highest taxes in the country, the worst regulatory environment, and it's incredibly mismanaged. And I'm pointing out now, on top of that, you get this insanity, a victimless crime. And forget about Trump. It's not about Trump. I don't care about Trump in this. I care about America, and I care about entrepreneurship, and I care about democracy and the fairness. The judicial system is now being criticized. People are asking themselves, the bar of New York, is this judge rational to charge $355 million in a case where no one lost any money? Is that good for the people of New York? Should the people of New York wake up to this and say, what's happening to us? Why is this becoming so perverse? Why are we the focus of this injustice? And I had nothing to do with Trump. I'm not supporting Trump. I'm supporting American entrepreneurship. And New York is slowly becoming the #1 loser state in America. I'm sorry, that's what's happening.
Well, that's news to the city that doesn't sleep. But I'll tell you what, the governor has said that legitimate business operations have nothing to worry about. I, as an attorney, am looking at this issue, wondering what the appeals process will look like, because they're going to delve into that very topic that you have raised. They're going to talk about perhaps the novelty of this being, as you described, not brought on behalf of, unsophisticated consumers who may have been duped, but decisions made by loan entities who wanted to engage in business with this particular organization.
Let me
That'll
put
be
up my
really important. Go ahead, put your hand up.
I want to put up my hand and ask, Governor, who's next? Who are you going after next?
You want your hand up for that, Kevin? Put your hand down if that's the question.
Who's
what do you
next?
mean?
Every entrepreneur in New York is saying, am I next? Who's next?
Facts. Especially, again, if you're on the right side of the aisle, right? If you're on the right side of the aisle, if you have anti-establishment positions, again, who's next, right? Who's next? But again, Kevin O'Leary has a great point here. This injustice that's been done to Trump, again, it should have New Yorkers concerned, right? You know why they should be concerned is because of what he's saying. Look, people are taking their businesses, they're taking opportunities away from New Yorkers and, giving those opportunities to other people in other states because of these policies by Democrats, because of what's happening. This persecution of President Trump is showing investors that, hey, there's added risk. This is another risk. This is how investors think. Investors always think about risk, right? Risk is like the top thing on an investor's mind, right? How much risk am I willing to take with my money, right? This is what they think about. Risk evaluation, risk assessment, one of the #1 things. So this right here is just another risk. This is the added risk of me doing business in New York or a blue state, is that if I had a wrong political opinions, this is what they might do to me. If they did it to him, what reason won't they do it to me? And that is a very rational and business-minded way of thinking about that situation. And that will scare people away from investing in these blue cities and these blue states that are persecuting their political opponents. And ultimately, that hurts the people there. Hurts the people because they lose out on the jobs. They lose out on the opportunities. They lose out on the investment money. So, again, this is just another example of, getting what you voted for, right? You vote for these Democrats, you vote for these silly policies, and this is what you get. Okay? You get out of control crime, chaos, destruction, and you also lose businesses. Okay? You losing money. You losing financial opportunity, economic opportunities. But hey, it is what it is. This is what Trump derangement ultimately leads to. This is what it leads to. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.